We from the bottom, ain't no problems, we gon' make a way. Got no coach on the field, but we making plays. Hey, look, don't worry, we gon' be okay. Hey, look, why? Cause we gon' make them pay. We from.
What's going down, gamblers around the world? I am the coach, and I'm joined here by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Flat Top from the West Coast. What's going down, Playboy?
Nothing much, man. Glad to be a part of Bowl Week 3. I've been watching you guys the past couple of weeks and kind of keeping an eye out on all these games and the COVID scare going on, but it's good to be a part of the postseason.
Well, we definitely miss you, my guy. We definitely miss you. And we joined by Marley Best. Marley, what's up? Marley, what's up?
We joined by the man.
What do you got to talk about?
Marley Bets. We gonna get my intro right, goddammit.
What's up with you, dog?
I'm good. I'm having a great morning, dog. Just hit.
What's up with the mic?
That whole sound good. That sound real good.
Hey, man. The family, they believe in the mission. You know, the family believes in the mission. They hooked me up with the new mic. I pass it over to you guys so y'all can all get on it. And then they also hooked me up with this little light thingy in front of me, thingamajigger. So they believe in the mission. They think 2020 is going to be our year. And so they like, well, shit. You know, we see he's investing a lot of time in it, so let's just go ahead and invest in him. And they hooked your boy up. So I really appreciate that, man. But I thank you for letting me know it sounds good, man.
That sounds good, man.
Y'all got
Western Michigan taking off for me. They took off for me. Hit that over for me. Cover for me.
Yeah. So let's kind of talk about these picks. I guess this is with Western Michigan included.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm 1-3. Shout out to G Martinez on our page under the video. He listed a bunch of different people who were out for this game. I had no idea graduate assistants were coaching this game and calling the plays and stuff like that. I had no idea, and that's my fault. I did know the quarterback was going to play, but you know it was going down like that. Bro, we talking about people who just literally finished playing college ball, are calling the plays as we speak. So, you know, that's definitely not what's up on my end, and that's on me. But Marley, you're doing 3-2 right now, so you definitely took Western Michigan in the home game. So that's how you're looking right now. Overall record, I'm sitting at 68, 56-1 on the year. Marty's sitting at 115, 91-3 on the year. Flat Top said a 64, 67-1. I definitely believe that had he been in the mix, he would be over 500 like his goal was. But we got the man himself here in the flesh, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. But real quick, anything y'all want to talk about for what's been going on in the past couple of bowl games? Anything?
Nah, you know, Memo is out still. Fade the Mac. Obviously, they won today, but I said that on the last show. But now we're finna get into it. So let's get into it. These are the marquee games, the next couple games coming up. You know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we definitely, for everybody paying attention, we are gonna break this week down into two different videos. Today's videos, we're going to break down tomorrow's games, Wednesday games, and Thursday's games. And then tomorrow morning around the same time, we're going to break down the remaining bowl games from the New Year's Eve Bowls to the New Year's Day Bowls all the way to that Makeup Bowl on January 4th. So let's kind of go ahead and get started here. We're starting off with tomorrow early in the morning. We have the Ticket Smart Birmingham Bowl between the Houston Cougars and the Auburn Tigers. The Cougars. Whoa. Excuse me. Excuse us. The Houston Cougars, 11-2 on the year, 7-6 against the spread. They are the conference. They are, the AAC runners-up. They're taking on the Auburn Tigers, who are 6-6 on the year, 6-6 against the spread. Let's take a look at these notes real quick. This line opened up in favor of Auburn -2.5. Right now, you can catch that line at 2. The total opened up at 51.5. Right now, that line is still at 51.5. There are some 51s on the board as well. Couple of key things to note. Fulbright, running back, he is out for the season. And for Auburn definitely has a couple of players who are missing, who have opted out. Starting cornerback All-American Roger McCrary, he is out for this game. Right tackle Brothas N, he is out. And another defensive player, Zacoby McClain. They are all out, and they are key guys for this team. But also out for Auburn, they do have a new offensive coordinator that's going to be stepping in as a replacement. And according to the quarterback, he is a little bit more tempo. Other than that, guys, we have to say this, with the spike in COVID and everything going down, please, ladies and gentlemen, please go to Twitter, do your research on the players who are playing the day of or the day before, because there are a lot of guys who are opting out for safety reasons or cannot play due to illness and COVID. But also, Brams, the offensive lineman, he is out for tomorrow's game as well. The kicker, Carlson, he's been out. And we all know Bo Nix, he has transferred. He will be going to the University of Oregon. So he's out of there. So Finley is going to get the nod once again. Last time we seen U of H, they lost 35-20 against the number 4 team in the country, Cincinnati Bearcats, and Auburn lost a close, tight game lost 22-24 against Alabama, the number 1 team in the nation, which that game came down to the wire in triple overtime?
Yeah, was it 3? Yeah, 3 overtimes.
Okay.
But that's a different type of game.
Right, rivalry game. Hey, also noted for Houston, they will be missing out All-American Marcus Jones, second team All-American. He is also their special teams guy as well. So he has opted out to get ready for the NFL as well. Get to these actual factuals. For U of H, the total's gone over 7 out of the last 10 games. They're 11-1 straight up in the last 12 games, 9-1 straight up in the last 10 games this season, 5-11 straight up in the last 16 games of going against the SEC conference opponent, 0-6 against spread in the last 6 games in the month of December. And the overs also hits 5 out of the last 7 whenever U of H is playing as an underdog. Auburn, the total has gone over 4 out of the last 5 games. They're 1-4 straight up in the last 5 games. The unders also hit 6 out of the last 8 games. They're 9-2 straight up in the last 11 games when played in the month of December. And they are 8-2 straight up in the last 10 games when playing as a favorite. So U of H, Auburn, Marley, what's the play?
Shit, where we from? Shit, that's what the play is. I'm on them Cougars. Man, look,
go ahead.
Look, I'm on them Cougars. Too much going on in Auburn. No Bo Nix. I know the backups got some playing time this year. I think he's actually started a couple games, if I'm not mistaken. But one, I don't know how motivated Auburn is to be in this game. 2, I think they're going to underestimate Toon and this offense for U of H. That's you got to keep in mind too. Their 2 losses are to I forgot who their first loss to, but I know their last
Texas Tech week 1, Texas Tech week 1, and the
week 1.
And they should have won that game. They were up 21-7 at halftime.
Right, they came back in the second half, and I think they just thought they had the game in the bag, and it was Tech. They gonna walk all over them. Then they lost to the number 4 team in the country. Outside of that, this U of H team has been balling. Toon over 3,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He's been in this offense for forever. I'm not going to sleep on the defense too. As much as we can get caught up in talking about this U of H offense, the defense only gives up 21 points a game, and that's been added with that Cincinnati putting up 35 and UCF putting up 42. Before that, 17, 13, 8. They're not even giving up 20 points a game. Auburn's coming off a 4-game losing streak. I'll give them the Alabama game. They play phenomenal. But that's the Iron Bowl. That's a different kind of game. You know what I'm saying? They coming off a loss to South Carolina, 21-17. I'm on the Cougars here, though. Money line, I don't want the 2 points. I'm also on the over here. I think Auburn will be able to score. It's SEC, a little bit bigger, a little more. They're probably, hands down, I would say they're the more talented team up front, especially. But U of H got some guys, dog, and I like them on the money line, and I like this game to go over 51.5.
Flat top, what's your play?
Marley pretty much said it all. I mean, there's a lot going on in this Auburn with this team. You know, you got the starting quarterback transferring. You got Finley, who has some experience, but just all in all, I think the motivation level for Auburn, that after, you know, pouring your hearts out in that Iron Bowl and just everything that they have going on, I think Houston, we've seen what kind of team Houston is. They only have those 2 losses to 2 pretty good teams. Marley basically said it all. I'm on Houston money line for this. I think they will beat Auburn. And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I am the coach, and I'm fading you boys. I'm going with Auburn. I'm going with the more talented team. I'm going with the up-tempo offense that did give U of H troubles, not only in week 1, but the last game of the year for them. Though Auburn's going to be missing but a handful of starters. U of H missing Marcus Jones is big, especially in the return game. But I'm going with the bigger team, the more physical team, the more talented team. And I think Finley and a lot of these younger guys, they up for this game. You know, it's an opportunity for next man up. And we can't forget it. You know, Gus Malzahn, he did do a hell of a job recruiting in the last 6-7 years that he was there. So I am still going to ride with the SEC. I'm not going to get it twisted. I'm going to ride with the bigger, the faster, the stronger team, and I'm going with the quarterback who's trying to go into next season with a point to prove, because there are some guys, a guy from Houston, okay, that went to the team that just won state not too long ago, and his team won state 2 times, and Davis from U of H, who is itching to get on that field. So I think Auburn's going to come out and play, and that is my official play. So, hey, we appreciate you guys tuning in. I am the coach. This is Marley Bets, and we're joined by our boy Flat Top, who's back in the action. So be sure to tune in, like, subscribe, follow. We will be back here tomorrow as well. Our next game for Tuesday Bowl action, we got Louisville taking on Air Force. Air Force is sitting at 9-3 for the Servpro First Responder Bowl. They're 8-4 against the spread, while the Louisville Cardinals are 6-6 on the year, 6-6 against the spread. This line did open up in favor of Louisville -1.5, and that line has been kind of going up and down. But right now it's at -1, still in favor of Louisville. The total opened up at 55.5. Right now that line is at 50. Major injury news right now. Air Force is pretty much healthy. They do have some guys who are probable. Daniels, quarterback, he's probable. Hughes is questionable. Keeming, the wide receiver, is questionable. Tight end Patterson, he's questionable as well. But for the most part, on the information that I've looked at, everybody's pretty much ready to ball. Now, Louisville, on the other hand, they did lose a couple of guys that have opted out. They lose 2 of the top 4 receivers to the transfer portal, Jordan Watkins and Justin Marshall, which is only leaving 4 scholarship players and a couple of walk-ons on that receiving core. And on the defensive side of the ball, they will lose 3 cornerbacks, 2 starting and 1 freshman who was a role player that they decided to keep his red shirt back on. So they will be shorthanded as well, playing with about 4 scholarship players, which one of them is a JUCO transfer and a couple of walk-ons. So definitely keep that in mind. Last time we saw Air Force, they won 48-14 against UNLV, and last time we saw Louisville, they lost 52-21 against Kentucky. Let's get to these actual factuals. Air Force 7-2 against spread last 9 games. The unders hit 10 out of the last 15 games. They're 7-2 straight up in the last 9 games. 9-3 straight up in the last 12 games this season. 8-3 against the spread in the last 11 games when played in the month of December, and 5-12 in the last 17 games whenever they're playing as an underdog. Actual factors for Louisville, they're 5-1 against spread in the last 7 games when going against a Mountain West Conference opponent. The unders hit 5 out of the last 7 in the month of December. They're 5-2 straight up in the last 7 games when played on a Tuesday, and 12-3 straight up in the last 15 games when playing as a favorite. So Louisville shorthanded in the wide receiver position and the secondary, going against an Air Force team who is excited to be in the First Responders Bowl. Flat Top, what's the play?
For me, I think it comes down to a lot of the injuries and no playing for Louisville. We know that they got Cunningham, who's electric, running, passing, but I think not having a lot of those weapons or big short-staffed is going to affect how he plays. I still expect him to have a pretty good game. The thing for me with Air Force is that for the most part, they've been pretty disciplined. They don't give up a lot of points. A lot of that might be who they're playing, but I also think that they're pretty just disciplined team. Outside of like that triple overtime game that kind of had the points go up beforehand, it was primed for the under. And so with everything that is going on, my play for this is going to be under that 54.5, just with what Louisville is going to have and how disciplined Air Force is. That is what I feel most comfortable with. So under the 54.5 is going to be the official play for me.
All right, Marley, what's your play?
I'm going with the triple option, man. I like Air Force here. And that's
It's
pretty
actually much... my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. The line is actually 55 right now. But I'll make those changes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going with the triple option, and it's mainly because, like you said, Cunningham, as electric as he is, he missing two of his best guys on the outside, and those cornerbacks that's missing. Air Force, true, they don't throw the ball, so the cornerbacks that are going to be making their starts, they don't have to worry about going up against complicated schemes defensively and getting mixed up in coverage, but they're going to have to tackle. And I don't know if they played a lot this season. They finna get a lot of fullback dive, fake, and assignment football. With Louisville missing so many players, I'm taking my chances with Air Force. Like Flat Top said, we got a real disciplined team. Mostly because they in the academy. The competition obviously is not stiff, but neither is Louisville. In my opinion, that conference didn't have any showing this year. And like I said, with all of the people who transfer portal and injuries, I'm rocking with Air Force on the money line.
All right. This kind of goes in favor of what both of you guys are talking about, as far as the under and the time of possessions. Air Force leads the nation in time of possessions per game. So that definitely will help you out, Flat Top, as far as limiting Louisville's chances of having a lot of possession. I mean, they're looking at maybe 5 or 6 possessions for this game. On the other hand, Air Force, they're gonna stay doing what they've been doing all year. So, and you know me, I love watching teams like this go against teams,
especially when you haven't seen it before. You don't get to see it often.
Exactly. And they don't, and nobody in the ACC's running this type of offense anymore. Now,
Georgia Tech.
They do have just a little bit of experience. Some of the older guys have played against this with Georgia Tech, and some of the older coaching staff, guys who've been a part of that staff, have as well. So, but not to long win this. My official play, I'm going with Air Force money line. Official play. So, hey, we appreciate everybody tuning in. I am the coach. This is Marley Bets, and then we joined by Flat Top, our boy. We are Brothas N Bets. Let's get to our next game on the Tuesday slate, and we're going to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl between the Mississippi State Bulldogs and the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Mississippi State, they are 7-5 on the year, 7-5 against the spread, while the Red Raiders are 6-6 on the year, 6-5-1 against the spread. This line opened up in favor of Mississippi State minus 9.5. There are some 10s out there, but for the most part, it has stayed at 9.5. The total opened up at 59.5. There are some 58s and 58.5 as a consensus. Get to these injury reports, and again, we always say check the day of the game. For Mississippi State, Cross, offensive lineman, he is out. He is opted out to go to the NFL. He's their starting left tackle, as well as cornerback Martin Emerson. So those are two key players who are opting out of this game to prepare for the draft. But on the Texas Tech side of the ball, they've been dealing with injuries all year long. Quarterback Salt, he is out for the season. He got out the last couple of games, but they are missing their top wide receiver, Eric. I'm gonna butcher this. Izukama. He has been their leading receiver for the last couple of seasons, and he is out for this game to prepare for the draft. And also, wide receiver Price is questionable with the ankle injury. So last time we saw Mississippi State, they lost to Ole Miss 31-21 in the Egg Bowl, while Texas Tech brought Baylor down to the wire, but ended up losing 27-24. Let's get to these actual factuals real quick. Mississippi State 5-1 against the spread in the last 6 games. The overseed 4 out of the last 5. They're 4-2 straight up in the last 6 games. 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 games of the season. 8-3 straight up in the last 11 games in the month of December, and only 6-2 straight up in the last 8 games when playing as a favorite. The total for Texas Tech actual factuals has gone under 4 of the last 6 games. They're 1-4 straight up in the last 5 games, 2-5 straight up in the last 7 games this season, 1-5 against the spread in the last 6 games against an SEC conference opponent, 1-5 against the spread in the last 6 games in the month of December, and 1-5 straight up in the last 6 games, when playing as an underdog. So Mississippi Tech, Texas Tech, the old mad scientist gets to go against his old team. Flat top play.
For me, this one was kind of a tough one, just because I like Mississippi State. I rocked with them pretty much all year. Not having Cross is big for what they try to do, running that air raid. Their ability to protect Rodgers is because they pass so much, that's what has them at this minus, 9.5, minus 10. So I'm a little hesitant with him. He has to make money moves, and it's the smart decision for him. Sure, first round, top 10 pick to not play in this, but 9.5 is it's a decent line. This Texas Tech team shows that they can compete. They beat what I thought was a good Houston team. They were in it all year with that Baylor team. For me, I just think the 9.5 is too much for Mississippi State. So I'm going to rock with Texas Tech. I think Mississippi State will win. I don't know if they're 10 points better than Texas Tech, even without some of the receivers they have. I think Texas Tech will keep it pretty close and want to show out for their old coach. So Texas Tech plus the points for me.
All right. Flat Top likes Texas Tech. Marley, what's the play, my guy? Marley.
Yo, my bad.
What you got?
Shit. What was Flat Top play? I didn't even hear the end of it.
He likes
Texas Tech plus the points.
Shit, keep popping up. Texas Tech plus the points. I don't know why this shit was so fucking muted. All right. My bad, Flat Top. All right, Texas Tech plus the points. I got you. Yeah, 9.5 is just too much. I think Mississippi State is the overall better team. I think Leach probably wants to stick it to Tech. Will Rogers has played, obviously, phenomenal football for the whole season. I mean, over 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. QBR 76.1. I like the over here, though. That's going to be my play, 58. I just don't trust Mississippi State with 9.5 points. That to me, that probably has backdoor written all over it, especially with this defense. But you do got SEC going up against Big 12, so that's something to keep in mind. But both these offenses average 30 points a game, but Tech is giving up 30 points a game. So I know Mike Leach is probably going to score in the upper 30s. I just need Tech to hang around, keep it in the high 20s, and I think we get in the 60s, maybe low 60s type of ball game. It's going to be an air it out type of ball game. Neither one of these teams care for defense. Neither one of these coaches care for defense. So I like the over here. Over 58.5 to me is the best play.
All right, Marley likes the over. All right, man, I'm going with the SEC. I'm going with the SEC. I'm going with the guys. Look, man, I'm going with the mad scientist. I think let's not get it twisted. This is his first time playing against his old school since they, exiled him for that bullshit back in the day. So I think they're going to put it on him. I think he ain't going to let up off the gas, man. And then you're talking about the leading receiver for Texas Tech being out, and they still shuffling quarterbacks. I'd have seen the game of Texas Tech and play with all three quarterbacks, and one of them was hurt. So now you're dealing with two. I like Mississippi State with these points. I know it's a lot, but it's really not a lot for what Mississippi State likes to do. And I think Leach is going to put it on them and put it on them hard. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go with those points, those SEC points. And I'm going to take that 9.5 and just wish myself luck on that one. So that is my official play. Hey, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, hit that little bell to get all the notifications. We are here. We're getting ready to gear up and go into that college basketball as soon as this is all over with, and the NFL playoffs. So be sure to stay locked in with your boys. Let's get to our next game, and this is a primetime 7 o'clock Tuesday action game, which I don't know, it kind of seems interesting written down, but once you look into this, you kind of scratch your head like, man, I don't know about this one. But anyways, you got the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl between the UCLA Bruins and the NC State Wolfpack. The Bruins are 8-4 on the year, 8-4 against the spread, while the Wolfpack are 9-3 on the year, 7-5 against the spread. This line opened up in favor of NC State, -3. Right now, that line's at -2. As far as the total, it opened up at 59.5. Right now, that total's at 60. Get to these injury reports real quick. Brown, he is questionable for UCLA, but going into COVID, due to COVID, the leading tackler, defensive back, Quantrez Knight, he is out for this game. And offensive lineman Antonio Maffa, he is out as well with COVID. And there are several other players that have not been named yet that Coach Kelly is hoping will be out of COVID protocol, out of quarantine by tomorrow. So you definitely want to go to Twitter to check that out and make sure you're on the right side of that. As far as NC State, they're pretty much healthy. They've been doing what they needed to do to make sure they don't have to send any players in the COVID protocol. UCLA is on a 3-game winning streak. They ended the year on a high note, averaging 42 points a game. They beat Cal 42-14 in their last outing, while NC State won 34-30 in a shootout against against North Carolina. Get to these actual factors. UCLA 5-2 against the spread last 7 games. They're over to 4 out of the last 5 against the 4 out of the last 5. They're 5-2 straight up in the last 7 games. The overs also hit 4 out of the last 6 this season. They're 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 games in the month of December, and they are 5-2 against the spread when playing as an underdog in the last 7 games. NC State, the overs hit 7 out of the last 10 games. They're 8-2 straight up in the last 10 games this season. 4-1 straight up in the last 5 games this season. 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 games in the month of December, and 7-1 straight up in the last 8 games when playing as a favorite. So NC State taking on UCLA. Marley, what's the play for the San Diego County Bowl?
You know how I feel about that Pac-12 conference over there on the West Coast. You know what I think about that West Coast football. Even though this NC State ain't, they consider North Carolina the South, right?
Yes.
Kind of, sort of. Anyway, that being said,
it is the South.
It's the South, right? I like North Carolina State here. Take the money line. I also like the over. Look, this week, man, I ain't gonna lie. I got plays, bro. This week I need to make my record. I'm trying to push over. I'm 20 over. I'm trying to get 30 over this week. 30 games over 500, and I feel good. But I like North Carolina State here on the money line. Leary, the quarterback for North Carolina State. Excellent season this year. Over 3,400 yards, 35 touchdowns.
What's up, SBO?
What's up, SBO? Only 5 interceptions. QBR is at what, like 60? Let me look at my notes. 65.7. And don't get me wrong, yeah, like Coach said, UCLA been on a 3-game win streak, but look at those 3 games that those teams they played. It was USC, trash this year, Colorado, okay, trash this year, and Cal, trash this year. I guess rivalry game, so we can give them credit, but I'm not trying to
rivalry game.
Huh?
I say that's not even a rivalry game. I mean, in-state rivalry game. But
yeah. So, and I'm not trying to I know the coach don't like when I trash one team real hard, but I'm not trying to trash UCLA. I just think I like the North Carolina State. That defense, they only give it up 19 points a game. That's going to be the difference. We will get a high-scoring game. I also like the over. That's an official play, over the 60, because, Kelly can't score. He can't design the offense. I think we'll get a back-and-forth shootout, but I think when it comes down to it in the fourth quarter, when you need a stop and your defense needs one, North Carolina State has a defense that can and will get those stops that UCLA will not be able to get. I'm on North Carolina State money line. I'm also on the over. We'll get a shootout early.
Yeah, so you got NC State and the over.
Yes.
Flat top, what you got?
Once again, Marley articulated it so well. I think this is just a matter of, you got UCLA, who's, they're having a pretty good end of their season on a 3-game win streak. But the difference, I think, and Marley mentioned it, is NC State, I have faith that they can get a stop when they need to. I mean, their defense has given up less than 20 points a game. They're going to give up more than that against UCLA just because of how Chip Kelly is when he has some time to prepare. But I think with Leary at the helm and no significant people being out for NC State offensively, I just think they're a better offense than UCLA, and they're definitely a better defense. So I like NC State with the points. I'll take them minus the 2. So NC State's the move for sure here.
I'm with you guys, and that makes me nervous that we all like NC State, but I'm gonna ride with them with all that shit that's going on with the COVID protocol right now. For UCLA, they are home. We're talking about an East Coast team traveling to the West Coast. I like NC State. I like the way they play defense as well, and the quarterback's been doing his thing also.
But
so the games, go ahead.
They're not traveling day of though, or night before.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So that time difference won't be such a. They gonna have been there for a couple of days. So that time difference.
They've been there since last Friday.
Right. So their body would have had time to adjust. That time difference shouldn't be no big deal. As far as East Coast traveling to West Coast, that should be pretty even match as far as how your body adjusts. I thought about that too, though.
Yeah, so we all like NC State for the play. Hopefully we're on the right side. So that makes me a little nervous that we all like them. So is that your son behind you? Okay.
Oh, you saw him walk by. You saw him walk by. Yeah.
Hey, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We are Brothas N Bets. Let's get to our last and final game for Tuesday's action. We got West Virginia taking on Minnesota in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. This game is kicking off at 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. West Virginia, they're 6-6 on the year, 6-6 against the spread, while the Minnesota Golden Gophers are 8-4 on the year, 7-4-1 against the spread. This line opened up in favor of Minnesota -7. That line has then jumped down to -5. The total opened up at 44.5. Right now, that line's at 45. There are some 44.5 still out there on the board, so be sure to check it out. As far as the injury reports right now, tight end Banks, he is out for tomorrow's game. The Mr. Everything for West Virginia, Liddy Brown, he is opted out. He's going to the NFL. So he's opted out for this game. Tight end O'Laurin, he is out. Wide receiver Esdale, he is questionable for this game as well for West Virginia. As far as Minnesota, they've been dealing with some running backs who've been out for a majority of the season. Now, the last time we saw West Virginia, they did beat Texas 31-23, and right after that, they beat Kansas 34-28. While Minnesota, they're on a 2-game win streak as well. They beat Indiana 35-14 and Wisconsin 23-13. Get to these actual factuals real quick. West Virginia, they're 4-2 straight up in the last 6 games. They're 2-4 against the spread in the last 6 games against the Big Ten Conference. They're 0-9 against the spread in the last 9 games played in the month of December. 2-6 straight up in the last 8 games when playing as an underdog. Extra factuals for Minnesota, they're 6-2 against the spread in the last 8 games, 6-2 straight up in the last 8 games, 8-3 straight up in the last 11 games this season, 0-6 in the last 6 games when playing against a Big 12 conference opponent, and the unders hit 5 out of the last 5 games in the month of December. So, Minnesota taking on West Virginia, flat top. What is your play for this?
For me, the fact that Letty Brown isn't playing for West Virginia pretty much says it all. If there was anyone who is going to change the tide for them and possibly shift my focus over to West Virginia, it would have been him. West Virginia's been up and down throughout the season. I think Minnesota, they've been pretty consistent throughout the year. I mean, they started off with that tough loss of Ibrahim. I think if they had kept Ibrahim all year running the ball, they would be a lot better than 8-4. Some of their games that they lost, close ones. Basically, Minnesota's a better team. They're way better defense. I'm very comfortable with the -5. Morgan, as long as he doesn't make any really big mistakes, Minnesota knows what they need to do. I'm rocking with them, taking the -5. It should be a lock.
All right, Marley, what's your play?
Yeah, I agree with Flat Top. Minnesota will probably be, they had hopes into coming into the season challenging for the Big Ten championship. With is it Ibrahim or Ibram? I think it's Ibrahim, the running back. But he went out early in the season, so they had to bounce back from that. West Virginia losing Brown, and that's going to be a new adjustment for them. With that being said, Minnesota is a more physical team. I'm kind of going with coach's philosophy here. I'm taking a team that can run the ball, play action, and play solid defense. And West Virginia, even though they're going to Arizona, you ain't got to worry about the weather. They don't travel good. They're 2-4 on the road this season, 2-4 ATS this season. I'm going to take the more disciplined, the football that I personally like. Run the ball, play good defense. Both these quarterbacks tend to turn the ball over, but I know West Virginia is going to throw it more, and I believe they'll turn the ball over a lot more. So I'm going to take Minnesota, safer play for me. I'm not worried about the -5 neither. I think if they do get the lead, I don't think West Virginia will be able to come back on them because they're going to just run the ball and eat the clock up. Give me Minnesota, -5.
Well, once again, we all like Minnesota. I am scared about that. But looking at this West Virginia team losing Brown to the NFL, there's no other player that has over 700 yards from the line of scrimmage at the skill position for them. Now, they do have a youngster back there for West Virginia who can tote the pill. But, this Minnesota team, they do play tough nose, PJ Fleck, disciplined football. So I do like Minnesota, and they're getting their quarterback back. He's getting ready to go into his 5th year next season. So I look for them to end on a high note and get ready to go into the Big Ten next year. When they're finally healthy in the backfield position. So I like Minnesota as well, -5 as an official play. So Lord help us. All right. Hey, we appreciate you guys tuning in. I am the coach. This is Marley Bets, and we do got Flat Top, and that's our record for the year. as of right now, we're all trying to end on a good positive note before we dig into that college football. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. Let's get ready to jump into our next game. And now we're going into Wednesday's action, and we're going to start Wednesday's games off with the New Era Pinstripe Bowl between the Maryland Terrapins going against the Virginia Tech Hokies. Maryland 6-6 on the year, 4-8 against the spread, while the Hokies are 6-6 on the year, 5-7 against the spread. This line opened up in favor of Maryland minus 2.5. Right now, it opened up in favor of Virginia Tech minus 2.5. And ever since the news that I'm about to broke out, that line has then since flipped to minus 3.5. The total opened up at 53.5. Right now, that line's at 55. Let's see, get to these injury reports real quick. So for Maryland, you got a lot of guys who have been out for pretty much the bulk of the season. So nothing has really changed in the last couple of games. Now for Virginia Tech, you got some stuff that's going on in that locker room. Braxton Burmeister, the quarterback, he has transferred out. He was trying to play in this game, but they were like, bro, you're transferring out. Go ahead and kick rock. So he is out. Look for Blackshear to start. And they're missing quite a couple of other impactful players, especially on the defensive side. But as the wide receiver position, Trey Turner, he is out. Tavion Robinson, he's out as well. Defensive tackle, Jordan Williams, defensive end, Barno, and cornerback Waller, they have all opted out to get ready for the NFL draft this upcoming spring. Also out for Virginia Tech, you got offensive lineman Smith. He is out for this game for personal reasons. You got payout wide receiver. He's also questionable. So it's a lot of injuries and a lot of opt-outs going on, and a lot of transfer portals going on for this for this Virginia Tech offense right now. Last time we seen Maryland, they won 40-16 against the Rutgers, who have opted in to play in the bowl down in Florida. I don't know why, but they've opted in. And last time we saw Virginia Tech, they won 29-24, sending West Virginia's coach, Mikey Hoble's old coach in college. They left his bags packing and sending him on his way. Let's get to these actual factuals real quick. Maryland with Lil Tua starting in the backfield. They're 1-7 against spread in the last 8 games. The total's gone over 4 out of the last 5. They're 2-6 straight up in the last 8 games. 1-4 against spread in the last 5 games against Virginia Tech. 1-4 straight up in the last 5 games against V-Tech. 1-4 against the spread. 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 games this season. The overs hit 5 out of the last 6 when playing against an ACC conference opponent. They're 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 games played in the month of December, and 4-1 straight up in the last 5 games when playing as a favorite. Virginia Tech 3-7 against the spread in the last 10 games. The unders hit 10 out of the last 14. It's also gone under 8 out of the last 12 games this season. They're 2-4 straight up in the last 6 games played in the month of December, and the total's also gone under 6 out of the last 7 when V-Tech is playing as an underdog. So, with that being said, Marley, what is the play?
I'm not gonna lie, man. I do not have a play on this game. I want to lean Maryland, but I'm not a big fan of the Terrapins, and it's only because of all the injuries and transfers, and I'm going to the league by Tech. I don't know who the fuck is playing in this game. And so rather me blindly just take the other side, it's way too much action to be making a blind bet like that. So I personally do not have a play on this game. I would lean Maryland, but before that Rutgers win, I mean, even though I expect Michigan to beat them, it was a blowout. They didn't put up any fight. Same with Michigan State and Penn State before that. I think this Virginia Tech has the more talented group of players, but I don't know who's playing. So it's a pass for me.
Flat Top, what's the play?
Yeah, it's the same for me. I was looking, if I was going to do anything, I'd probably lean on the under, but without knowing who's playing on Tech, yeah, I'm looking at their numbers. If Burmeister wasn't transferring, I'd feel more confident in Tech, but I just have no clue who's going to be playing. Specifically on the defensive side, I really want to take the under just because of, I just haven't been impressed with Maryland, their offense outside of, I think they beat that Rutgers, and then I think the other one was like Indiana, but every other game they're only putting up in between 15 and 21 points, which I don't think Virginia Tech's gonna get necessarily a lot of points, but I just don't know. Maryland does give up a lot of yards, and they give up over 30 points a game, but they're playing in that Big Ten. It's a stacked division, so you expect a lot of points to be scored. With the amount of action that there is, this is probably going to be the one that I'm like, I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, well, y'all are saying that now. That is the first game that's coming on Wednesday action. So we gonna see. We definitely gonna see. I'm gonna take Maryland with the points. I've never been impressed with this VTech offense, even when Burmeister was there, and they're missing some of their receivers as well. So I'm gonna ride with Tua. I'm gonna ride with Tua to come out slinging that thing. I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna take the 3.5 and just see what they're missing. Some receivers. VTech's missing a lot of guys. So you would think Maryland will come out and take care of business against this team who's been playing underwhelming football all year long. But we shall see. But my official play for this one, I'm gonna take Maryland. So that is my official play for that game. So let's get on. This is another interesting game that we have on the docket. And this is the Cheez-It Bowl. We're talking about the Cheez-It Bowl between, Marley put it wrong, Iowa State and Clemson. Let me take care of that real quick. We got Iowa State and Clemson in the Cheez-It Bowl. Clemson. This give me 1 second. They're throwing me out. Clemson 9-3 on the year, 4-8 against the spread, going against the Iowa State Cyclones. 7-5 on the year, 5-7 against the spread. This line opened up in favor of Clemson -1.5. That line hasn't moved too much. There are some ones out there. The total opened up at 44.5 right now. You can catch that line at 44. Get to these injury reports real quick. So as you guys know, Clemson has been dealing with a lot of injuries, but just some of the key injuries right now. E.J. Williams, he is upgraded to probable for this game. But besides that, DJ Ongalule, he is not 100% for this game. But he's going to give it a go, but he's not 100%. So definitely keep an eye out on him. He's dealing with issue not in his throwing hand, but his leading hand, as well as a PCL in his knee. Justin Ross is also out, but let's not forget, Clemson, they're going to be without their defensive coordinator and their offensive coordinator, who both picked up jobs, one at Virginia, the other on Venables. We all know is going back home to Oklahoma, so definitely keep that in mind. Injury reports as far as Iowa State. No significant injuries outside of Breece Hall has left the team. He's preparing for the NFL, and he's their whole team. Clemson has been playing good ball in the last 5 games. They beat South Carolina 30-0 their last outing, and Iowa State beat TCU 48-14 in their last outing. Get to these actual factuals. Clemson 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 games. The total's gone over 4 out of the last 5. They're 5-0 straight up in the last 5 games. 7-1 straight up in the last 8 games this season. The unders also hit 5 out of the last 6 when playing against a Big 12 conference opponent. 8-0 against the spread in the last 8 games. 7-0 straight up in the last 7 games when playing as a favorite. Iowa State, they're 2-4 against the spread in the last 6 games. They're over 6 out of the last 9. They're 13-6 straight up in the last 19 games. 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 games in the month of December. And 1-8 straight up in the last 9 games when playing as an underdog. So we got Clemson taking on Iowa. Marley, what's the play?
I'm on the Tigers, man. I know that they lost the AD coordinator, and I think the last 6 weeks or so of the season, Clemson found their little stride. It started out a little rough for them. I think they're the more talented team, and personally, no Hall. If you give me Hall, I might go the other way. No Hall for Iowa State. Like Coach said, Hall is Mr. Everything over there. I like Purdy, the quarterback, but they underachieved this season. There's no reason for me to think they're going to turn around against the more talented team in Clemson, in my opinion. I know the quarterback is hurt. I ain't going to butcher his name. I ain't going to even try to. And I know Justin Ross is out, but Ross missed a lot of games earlier in the season as well, so they used to playing without him. And
Big Cinco. Call him Big Cinco.
Who?
DJ on your Ucla, call him Big Cinco.
Oh, Big Cinco. Okay. Big Cinco, yeah, because I damn sure can't get his name together. But I'm going to rely on that defense, man. 15 points, only giving up 15 points a game, allowing less than 100 yards rushing the game, which is 99, and only right at 209 yards passing. So I saw what they did to that Wake Forest offense, and this Iowa State offense is definitely a lot more talented than that. It's like I said, especially without Hall, the running back. So I'm on Clemson. I'm on the money line. Probably lean under because I don't think it's going to be a really defensive game. I don't know what Clemson's going to be able to do offensively with the quarterback being banged up. So official play though, Clemson on the money line. Flat
Top, what's your play?
Yeah, that's going to be the same for me. You got to remember this is a down Clemson year, and they're 9-3. Despite that Georgia game early, I think this defense is still really good, even without a defense coordinator. Just the talent disparity between Clemson and Iowa State, I think, is going to be very apparent. I don't expect Iowa State to get very many points, especially down Hall. Purdy's good. But like Marley mentioned, this was an underachieving Iowa State team. They had big expectations going in. I think when they played Iowa, and when they played Iowa, that was kind of like a test game to see are they real, are they fakers, and we saw the result. But I think Clemson has gotten better. They really haven't asked the quarterback to do. I mean, it's not like he's carrying them. Clemson knows their identity is good defense, blanking people, shutting people down. They're going to continue to do that. They'll get enough points to win. I like Clemson with the points -1.5, and then I'm going to take the under. I think it's going to be pretty low scoring, maybe not 30-0, but I think they'll keep it under 44 total points scored. So Clemson with the points and the under are both going to be official plays for Flat Top.
All right. Y'all heard them. Y'all heard the man. I think this is my lock of the whole bowl season, and that's Clemson on the money line. Iowa State just all season long, I've been following them. They prove that they can't really score, especially when they win against the upper echelon of, the Big 12, and whenever they play against Iowa. I think, we got to keep in mind this is a Clemson team that for the last 5-6 seasons have finished top 5 in the recruiting. They still have a lot of studs on that team that can run circles. Now, I am a little concerned about a lot of the guys who hit the transfer portal to follow their respective coordinators, and a lot of guys did follow Venables to OU, but I still think there's enough talent, and we're gonna see Dabo Swinney get back to what we've known him for, and that's calling the plays, and see what he could do. But I think this is my lock of the entire bowl season. I like Clemson on the money line. take them with the spread if you want to, be a little cheap about it. But moneyline Clemson, this is my lock right here. So I'm all in on Clemson, man, straight up. So that is my official play for that game. I am the coach. This is Marley Bets and Flat Tops. We are Brothas N Bets. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, follow, comment. We share our comments. We like to talk that shit. Even if you're tuning in during the cut ups, once we cut them up, drop that info because the information we provide today is definitely gonna be different the day of the game with this spike in COVID and the Omarion going around right now. It's crazy. And it's going to get even crazier as we end Wednesday night's bowl games with this one right here. This is going to be probably the jankiest game out of all the bowl games for the year. Let's jump right into it. We got the Valero Alamo Bowl going down in San Antonio, Texas, about 2.5 hours away from where me and Marley are. We got the Oregon Ducks 10-3 on the year, 5-8 against the spread, going against the Oklahoma Sooners, who are 10-2 on the year, 5-6-1 against the spread. This line opened up in favor of OU -4. Right now, that line's at -7 as a consensus, but has gone down. We might need to do a double check on this line because we have it at 4.5. Marley, has this gone down? Is this accurate? Was this morning? He's not here. Let me just double check real quick on this line. Because I did see something a little different. I don't even see this game on the board anymore. Or at least UAG doesn't have it. But I'm gonna say, I don't see this. I don't see this game on the board. The accurate line for this game, Oregon and Oklahoma. We have it at 4.5, but as a consensus right now,
ESPN has it as 7.
Right. So let me just go ahead and update it because on the boards, everybody has it as a 7 right now. So we do apologize about that. But if I'm looking at UAG right now, they don't even have the game on the board. Like I said, this is one of the craziest games of the bowl season. But let's get to going. Let's get to these injury reports right now. So as far as the injury reports, we do know that Oregon's been dealing with a plethora of injuries all season. They do now they miss Pittman. Pittman has opted out. He is leaving that school. Thibodeau, he is opted out to get ready for the NFL draft. And Dye, running back Travis Dye, he is opted out and hit the transfer portal as well for Oregon. And we also know that they are missing, their head coach, Cristobal, he has taken a job at Miami. So he's out of there along with a lot of other coaches and assistant coaches for that team. Injury reports for OU. You got Weiss, wide receiver. He's questionable. But again, Lincoln Riley leaving like that, a lot of guys are following them. A lot of guys have left that program. And Lincoln Riley has pretty much taken all of his coaches with them. Some of the key guys that have left on the defensive side, Winfrey and Isaiah Thomas, they have entered the transfer portal. They have opted out to get ready for the NFL draft. But there are a lot of guys who have left this team and this program. Hazelwood has left. I believe he went to Arkansas. So, you definitely want to do your notes on both of these teams because they have a lot of guys who have opted out for playing in this game and have hit the transfer portal. But actual factuals, Oregon, they're 6-2 against the spread, 6-12 against the spread in the last 18 games, 10-3 straight up in the last 13 games, 6-2 straight up in the last 8 games this season. The unders hit 4 out of the last 5 games in the Big 12 against an opponent in the Big 12, and the unders also hit 4 out of the last 5 in the month of December. OU, they're 18-2 straight up in the last 20 games, 10-2 straight up in the last 12 games this season, 6-1 straight up in the last 7 games against a Pac-12 conference opponent. The others also hit 9 out of the last 11 games in the month of December, and they're 4-2 against the spread in the last 6 games when playing as a favorite. So we got the Oregon Ducks. We got the Oklahoma Sooners. This is top 25 action going down to San Antonio. Marley, what's your play? Also, we changed the line because everybody has it as a 7 right now, not 4.5. But go ahead.
Yeah, I see that. I'm assuming that's because of everything that's going on with Oregon, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of transfers, a lot of guys who are opting out. Yep.
Right. And the way fucking Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma, I'm sure you touched on that while I was gone. The way he
Right.
left Oklahoma, I'm scared to take Oklahoma because he just burnt the fuck out. Like
And he
he
took
didn't
all
even,
of his coaches and a lot of players.
he didn't even like
But we got to, but we got to
coaching.
remember. But here's the advantage. OU has it. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
They
go
got
ahead.
the old ball coach coming to step in, and Bob Stoops. So we're gonna be seeing some rinks and dinks that nobody has seen on film at all this year, and they still led by Caleb Williams. But go ahead.
Do you think they got enough time to learn that shit and execute it in a big game?
They had 3 weeks. I mean, I'm not gonna say that they went and scrapped everything out.
No, I'm
saying
sure they're
they
not
are gonna.
scrapping everything.
The style of play calling
I
is
mean,
definitely
Stoops
gonna
is
be a
Lincoln
little
Riley
different.
is Stoops' protege, right?
Correct, but there were he ain't win no natties with Lincoln Riley at OC. I'll tell you that much. But go ahead.
Right. So that's the only thing that's stopping me from taking OU because I can't. The 7 points when it was 4.5, I was all over OU because I just don't like Pac-12 teams. And every time Oregon steps up to play somebody tough outside of that Ohio State early in the season, they've not delivered on anything they should have been this year. I'm gonna trust the old ball coach, man, because I think the talent overall is at Oklahoma. It's a lot of Texas kids on that roster. It's a lot of big boy football that OU has played. And with that said, like Coach said, that's huge that Stoops is stepping in because the transition for a game will be so much easier. The terminology will stay the same. Obviously, the play calling and will be a little bit different, but the familiarity with the program and probably still a lot of those kids, he probably still hangs around that program. The only thing that scared me is just the way Lincoln left, bro. He just left that motherfucker. They don't even think it's not even like he considered coaching in this game. He just, I'm going to USC. All right, goodbye. I'm going. Plane takes off. But I don't have faith in Oregon, and I saw what happened against those Utah games, and I don't think Utah is as talented as Oklahoma. So Oklahoma scares me. All their games are close, and they always win at the end. But I'm gonna go with the Sooners.
Flat top, what's your play?
Yeah, I think you with this your description of the game, this being super janky and everything that's going on with the coaching staffs and the transfer portal and who's going to be playing and Lincoln Riley and everything he did to their program, as well as the NFL picks that are coming out from Oregon side, which are very important. There's just a whole lot of moving pieces on this game. And like Marley said, 4.5. Oh, I was all over that for Oklahoma,
especially with no Thibodeau and all the guys leaving.
Yeah,
all over that.
Yeah, that should be easy. The amount of points they're going to put up, so that's 60. I would have been confident in the over, but with them, the one saving thing is Stoops is the guy that's coming in for Oklahoma. I think they just have better talent staying and potentially playing than Oregon. And because both programs are kind of dealing with the same thing with coaches leaving and coordinators leaving, this is probably my shakiest official play. But I think that most likely Oklahoma, they find a way to get it done when they need to. I think it'll be kind of close. This one might push. They might just win by the touchdown, but I'm going to have to take Oklahoma with the points and just hope that, the old ball coach and Stoops whips out some stuff we haven't seen and that Oregon's not ready for.
All right.
Just to play -7.
All right, Flat Top likes Oklahoma -7 as an official play. As for myself, I'm gonna take Oklahoma for the first half. I think we should expect a lot of big plays, a lot of stuff that have been drawn up in the script to take off immediately for Oklahoma to go up. With it being at 7, we're looking at maybe 4 and a half, most likely 4.5, 4. But I think they'll be able to go up by at least a touchdown going into halftime, just based off of everything that they have worked on. And then once this game is over with, expect Caleb Williams to enter the transfer portal and go to USC and follow his boy Lincoln Riley into LA. I know he did not go to Norman, Oklahoma, to go to Norman and hang around Norman when he can go to South Los Angeles, bro, in that weather, being a kid from the East Coast. Man, expect Oklahoma to come out here, dominate, take care of business first half, and then Caleb Williams, along with a lot of other young guys who just wanted to play in this game, to transfer and go to USC, and try to get that program back on the right steps. So my official play, Oklahoma for the first half. So let's get right into it. Let's get to our next game for Thursday action. Our first game for Thursday action. We're staying in the Carolinas. We're talking about the Duke's Mayo Bowl. It don't get no countryer than that. Between North Carolina Tar Heels and the South Carolina Gamecocks. Excuse me. North Carolina, very, very disappointing season. 6-6 on the year, 5-7 against the spread. Going up against the Gamecocks, who are 6-6 on the year, 6-6 against the spread as well. This line opened up in favor of North Carolina -5, and ever since then, that line has jumped to 9. The total opened up at 58.5. Right now, that line's at 58. There are some 58.5s still on the board as well. Get to these injury reports right now. North Carolina, really same stuff that's been going on for the most part. There haven't been really too many players to opt out. Sam Howell is questionable for this game. So again, we tell everybody, go lock in for on Twitter the day of the game. Pay attention to these injury reports, because the information that we're providing today will change with this COVID spike and everything going on. Hell, the game might even be canceled. We might be wasting our time covering it. It might be canceled. That's how crazy it is right now. Injury reports right now for South Carolina. Dickerson, defensive back, he is questionable. Linebacker White, he is doubtful with personal issues going on. Defensive line Sandbridge, he is questionable as well as linebacker Brown. It's questionable. Last time we saw North Carolina, they lost 34-30 against NC State, and last time we saw South Carolina, they lost 30-0 against Clemson. Get to these actual factors real quick. North Carolina, they're 2-5 against spread in the last 7 games. The overs hit 4 out of the last 6. The unders also hit 4 out of the last 5 games against the SEC conference opponent. The overs also hit 4 out of the last 6 games in the month of December for North Carolina. They're 1-5 against the spread in the last 5 games played on a Thursday. 4-1 straight up in the last 5 games when playing as a favorite, and 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 games when playing on the road on a Thursday. Actual factors for South Carolina, they're 2-5 against the spread in the last 7 games. They're 6-12 straight up in the last 18 games. 0-6 straight up in the last 6 games against the ACC conference opponent. 2-5 against the spread in the last 7 games in the month of December. 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 games when played on a Thursday, and just 2-11 straight up in the last 11 games, 13 games when playing as an underdog. So, South Carolina taking on North Carolina. Flat Top, what is your play?
I am going under on this one for 58.5. South Carolina hasn't been able to score, and North Carolina doesn't have very good defense, but I'm looking over, the last 5 games that South Carolina had, and, they had Clemson and they had some decent opponents, but you got to be able to score. I don't know where the points are going to come from to get 58. 9 points, they might be able to keep it close. I kind of think North Carolina could cover, but my biggest reason for taking this under is that South Carolina can't score, and North Carolina has been wildly inconsistent throughout the year. Sometimes they'll get you 45, 50. Sometimes games they should score, they'll get you 20. I don't know what kind of game this is going to be. They might still get the 50, but I don't know how much South Carolina is going to get against them. I don't think this game is hitting 58.5. South Carolina's last 5 games, none of them have hit over 58. So that's just my reasoning for this one. Official play is going to be under the 58.5, just because I don't know where the points are going to come from. And if Howell doesn't play, you don't have to worry about it touching the 60s.
All right. Marley, what's your play?
Yeah, I'm right there with Flat Top. If Howell doesn't play, this game is definitely not going nowhere near 58.5 points. And if he does play, South Carolina not giving you the plus close to 30, high 20s that you will need for them to keep up with North Carolina to get you over that 58.5. So I'm all over this under here. South Carolina, like Flat Top said, they can't score worth shit. I normally don't take unders in college games, especially bowl games, but South Carolina's offense is awful, and if Howell's not going to play, or if we're not sure if he's going to play, this has no chance to get over 58.5 points. So I like the under here.
Yeah, I don't have a play for this one. I'm going to pass, but South Carolina haven't passed over 200 yards in the last 5 games. So y'all should it should be good. If I was a lean, I'll probably lean on that, but I'm not going to touch this game at all because it's too inconsistent on both sides of the field. So with that being said, let's get on to our next game. This is a good one. We have Tennessee taking on Purdue in the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl. This is basically a home game playing in Nashville for the Volunteers. The Volunteers 7-5 on the year, 5-7 against spread, while the Purdue Boilermakers are 8-4. The big dog upset. These are the giant killers. 8-4 on the year, 7-5 against the spread. Get this line open up in favor of Purdue -3, and since it has flipped to -5.5 in favor of Tennessee, the total opened up at 58.5. Right now, that line's at 64. There are some 64.5s on the board as well. Injury reports right now: Mays, offensive lineman, he is questionable for Tennessee. Hendon Hooker, he is questionable also with his hand. Now for Purdue, they do have quite a few guys who have opted out. Wide receiver Bell, he is opted out of this game. Defensive end Georgie Karlaftis, he is out as well for this game. Last time we seen Tennessee, they beat Vanderbilt 45-21. And the last time we seen Purdue, they beat Indiana 44-7. Get to these actual factuals real quick. Tennessee 2-4 against spread in the last 6 games. They're over to 5 out of the last 5 games. They're 5-0 straight up in the last 5 games against Big Ten conference opponent. 2-8 straight up in the last 10 games in the month of December, and 0-5 against spread in the last 5 games when played on a Thursday. And the overs hit 5 out of the last 5 games whenever Tennessee is a favorite. Extra factuals for Purdue: they're 4-1 against spread in the last 5 games. Their unders hit 8 out of the last 12. They're 4-1 straight up in the last 5 games. 5-2 against the spread in the last 7 games this season. The overs also hit 4 out of the last 5 whenever Purdue's playing against an SEC conference opponent. They're 11-4 against the spread in the last 15 games when playing as an underdog. So Purdue, Tennessee, Marley, what's your play?
I got the home team here, Coach. I'm all over Tennessee, especially since Bell, the receiver, is not playing in this game. Bell is Mr. All-World for the Giant Killers, as you call them. Which they did beat some pretty good team this year. They did earn that reputation. However, Tennessee are no Giants. So, as long as Hendon Hooker plays, I expect this offense to score in bunches. They average 38 points a game. The defense isn't bad considering what they are and what conference they play in. It's 27 points a game. But I think they had a pretty good season overall considering what they are, I think this was a good step for a building season for Tennessee. I think they're going to cap it off with a bowl win, pretty much at the crib in Tennessee. And that line flipped. I'm telling you, that line flipped because Bell is not playing. And like I say, Bell is Mr. All-World for the Giant Killers. As long as Hendon Hooker hands good, that offense is going to score. I expect them to score 30. So I'm not sure what Purdue's offense, that's their guy. So I don't know what all I'm going to get there. And this is practically a home team for the Volunteers. They're going to travel well. And if anybody know about college football, that's they can have one of the ruckus stadiums in college football. So I expect it to be a virtuoso home game for Tennessee. I like Hendon Hooker in the offense to outduel the Boilermakers here.
All right. Flat Top, what's your play for this one?
Yeah, same here. Just hearing who Purdue has out. They got Bell and obviously their D-end, who's also supposed to be like top half of the first round, getting ready for that. They're only giving up 20 points a game, but a lot of that has to do with their ability to harass the quarterbacks and some of the stuff that he allows them to do from the front seven. So I think Tennessee should have this. I'm going to take Tennessee first half minus the 3. I think they're going to start off winning and then never have to look back. It's a very high-powered offense. Purdue is, if you look at their offense, it's all pass. So once I think they're going to try and get into a shootout with Tennessee because that's the only way they're going to be able to win. And I don't think that without Bell that they're going to have the personnel to be able to do so. So first half, Tennessee minus probably like 3. I think Tennessee, they're playing in a rocking stadium. It's essentially a home game for them. Assuming Hooker, like Marley said, is playing, they shouldn't have very much trouble with Purdue. So Tennessee first half points.
All right. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep this long. Yeah, I pretty much said everything. I like my boy Heupel and what he's doing as far as this up-tempo offense, and now he's having athletes. I like Tennessee minus the 5.5 official play. This is one of my top plays as well, my locks of the entire bowl season. So Tennessee at home minus 5.5. Hey, we appreciate you guys tuning in. I am the coach. This is Marley Bets and Flat Top. We are breaking down the Bowl Week Season 3. Let's keep this going. We are rapid firing these last 2 games because we have hit our limit as far as the amount of time we've been on here. So let's kind of keep this one quick. And with that being said, let's get into another, I don't know, depending on how you look at it, it's not too much, it ain't that janky, but we got Pittsburgh taking on Michigan State. This is going down in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Excuse me. Let me get to my notes. Yes, the Chick-fil-A Bowl top 25 action. We got the Pitt Panthers 11-2 on the year, 10-3 against the spread, going against the Sparty of Michigan State, 10-2 on the year, 8-3-1 on the year. This line opened up in favor of Pitt minus 4.5, and that line has since flipped to minus 2.5 in favor of Michigan State. The total opened up at 63. Right now, that line's at 56. There are some 55 and a halves on the board as well. Get to these injury reports. So we already know wide receiver Mack, he is out for this game due to arm injury. We know the Heisman finalist Kenny Pickett, he is out for this game as well. All-world, all-conference defensive back Demarius Mathis, he is out for this game as well. Decided to go to the prepare for the NFL. So there's quite a few guys that are out right now for Pitt. And as far as on the other side of the ball, we already know Kenneth Walker III. He is opted out to get ready to go to the NFL. Last time we seen Pitt, they won the ACC 45-21 against Wake Forest. And the last time we saw Michigan State, they won 30-27 against Penn State. Get to these actual factuals real quick. Oh, also, Pitt will be with a new offensive coordinator as well for this game, as he's taking the job at Michigan. Actual factuals for Pitt: 8-2 against the spread in the last 10 games this season. The overs hit 14 out of the last 25-0 straight up in the last 5 games. 9-1 straight up in the last 10 games this season, but only 1-7 straight up in the last 8 games with going against a Big Ten conference opponent. The others also hit 5 out of the last 6 whenever Pitt plays in the month of December, and they are 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 games when playing as an underdog. Actual factuals for Michigan State: 62 against spread in the last 8 games. The overs hit 4 out of the last 5. They're 10-2 straight up in the last 12 games. 8-2 straight up in the last 10 games this season. 2-4 against spread in the last 6 games played in the month of December, and 6-1 straight up in the last 7 games when playing as a favorite. So, top 25 action: Pitt versus Michigan State. Flat top. What is the play?
So the play for me, this one's kind of a tough one because I like Pitt. I like their offense, but a lot of that has to do with Pickett. I love Addison on the edge for them, sophomore, over 1,500 yards receiving. But a lot of that has to do with Pickett's ability to get, find the guy and make the right passes. And then on the other hand, you got Michigan State, who's favored, but Walker was a big part of what they were doing. Thorne and Reed would probably be a pretty safe bet. They've built some pretty good chemistry on offense. So I'm kind of torn. I still think that even without Pickett at the helm, Pitt still got a pretty good offense. So I'm going to have to go with the over 56 here. I think it's going to be Michigan State's going to have to change up a little bit what it does, maybe run a little less, pass a little more. I think that'll give them an opportunity for Thorne to kind of air it out, get Reed involved. So over the 56 is going to be the official play for me. I think Addison's going to have a big day for Pitt. They'll find a way to get him the ball in some space, and I think Thorne's going to be looking to light up a Pitt defense that they played good for most of the year, but, down against some of the better offensive teams, their defense has given up a pretty fair amount of points. So over 56 for me, official.
Marley, what's your play?
Initially, we rode with both of these teams a lot this year, but with no Purdy, not Purdy, I'm tripping.
Pickett.
Tripping.
Purdy, Oklahoma State. No Pickett. I can't do it. He's a Heisman Trophy finalist. I don't think he's going to win, but he has to mean a lot to that team. The offensive coordinator. We got new play calling, new quarterback. I do like the talent surrounding them, but I'm going to go with the guys I know versus the ones I don't. Even though Walker's not there, I do like Thorne and Reed. You mentioned that earlier, the connection they worked on this season. I'm going to go with the Big Ten, and we're going to run the ball. We're going to play good defense, and we're going to build off the play action versus a wide-open attack on that, depending upon the Heisman-winning quarterback that's not going to be the signal caller and throwing the ball. So I like Michigan State. I'm going to take them on the money line. This is kind of a janky game. You got a lot of guys sitting out or going pro. But however, I'm going to take the quarterback and the receiver duo combination that I do know versus the one I don't. So I'm going to take Michigan State on the money line.
All right. I'm right there with you, man. I'm riding with this Big Ten. I think, again, losing your quarterback, losing your best defensive back, and one of your role players in the wide receiver game. I like everything that Michigan State brings to the table without Kenneth Walker, but next man up, they still got everybody else that's gutted out this season. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to take my boys, Michigan State, and gotta take the ball head. What the fuck was that? The old ball coach. I'm taking Michigan State with the money line right here. So that is my official play. We are Brothas N Bets. We appreciate everybody tuning in, and we are gonna get to our last game of today and the last game of Thursday night action, we're talking about the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. This game is going down between the Wisconsin Badgers, 8-4 on the year, 6-6 against the spread, going against the Arizona State Sun Devils, 8-4 on the year, 5-7 against the spread. This line opened up in favor of Wisconsin -7. Right now, that line's at -6. And the total opened up at 43. Right now, that line's at 41.5. So they're expecting a lot of a good defensive game being played out right now. Wisconsin has a slew of injuries, but for the most part, these have been guys who have been out for the most of the season. Cornerback Burton, he did leave the team. And tight end Eisenbach, he is questionable as well. As far as Arizona State, defensive back Jones, he is out. But running back, Rashad White, he has opted out as well, which that's huge because he's their leading rusher. He's decided to get ready for the NFL. Wide receiver Porter, he has left the team as well. Last time we seen Wisconsin, they lost to Minnesota 23-13. The last time we saw Arizona State, they beat Arizona 38-15. Excuse me. Get to these actual factors. Wisconsin's 4-2 against spread in the last 6 games. The overs hit 4 out of the last 6. They're 7-1 straight up in the last 8 games this year. 4-1 straight up in the last 5 games this season. 1-5 straight up in the last 6 games against a Pac-12 conference opponent. And the unders hit 5 out of the last 6 games when played in the month of December. And the overs hit 4 out of the last 6 games whenever Wisconsin's playing as a favorite. Actual facts for Wisconsin, they're 2-4 against. For Arizona State, they're 2-4 against the spread in the last 6 games, 10-4 straight up in the last 14 games, 8-4 straight up in the last 12 games, 8-2 against the spread in the last 10 games against a Big Ten conference opponent, 5-12 against the spread in the last 17 games played in the month of December, and the overs hit 4 out of the last 5 games when playing as an underdog. So, Arizona State, Wisconsin, Marley, what's the play?
I don't like Wisconsin's offense. I know they've been on the streak before they lost. They had won in 4 out of the last 5 games. But I don't trust Mertz. Fucking lawnmower man across the street. I'm going to take Arizona plus the 6. Arizona State plus the 6.5. Lawnmower man's going crazy. So
Marley,
Arizona State.
Marley likes Arizona State plus the 6. Flat top, what's your play, man?
Yeah, for me, it's the quarterback. They're both pretty inconsistent between Mertz and Daniels for Arizona State. I don't really like either one of them. Arizona State has their leading rusher White, getting ready for the draft. Minnesota, they basically have been running the same run first, grind it out kind of offense. I'm actually going to go under here just because I think Wisconsin, Wisconsin's got a pretty solid D. I don't have faith in these quarterbacks. I think there's going to be some turnovers, going to be a lot of running. I don't really see this being like a super high-scoring game. They're both going to try and just grind it out and get the win. And with Arizona missing their biggest running piece, I just don't know where points are going to come from. So I'm going to go under the 41.5 for my official play.
All right, so Flat Top likes the under for this game. I don't have an official play for this game, so I am going to chill. I'll probably get it in some live action, some live betting whenever it goes down. But yeah, I don't have an official play for none of these games. So with that being said, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Let's kind of go through our plays, just a review for the Week 3 college football action. Flat Top, he likes Houston money line. He likes the under in Air Force versus Louisville. He likes Texas Tech plus 9.5. He likes NC State -2, Minnesota -5, Clemson money line and under 44, Oklahoma -7, North Carolina and South Carolina under 58.5, Tennessee first half -3, Pitt Pitt, Michigan
Sparty.
State over 56. Wisconsin and Arizona State under 41.5. As far as Marley likes Houston money line and over 51.5. Air Force money line, Michigan State and Texas Tech over 58.5. NC State money line and the under over 60 for the full game. Minnesota -5, Clemson money line, OU -7, North Carolina, South Carolina under 58.5, Tennessee -5.5, and Arizona State +6. God damn, boy, y'all these plays. As for myself, I'm gonna keep it real simple. Auburn money line, Air Force money line, Mississippi State -9.5, NC State money line, Maryland -5. Minnesota -5, Maryland -3.5, Clemson money line, Oklahoma first half, Tennessee -5.5, Michigan State money line, and Wisconsin -6. Oh, wait a minute. No. I'm not doing Wisconsin.
No play, right?
That was a no play, but I wrote my picks down earlier. But no, there's no play on that live betting for me. So. But that is it. That's what we got. We have hit our hour and a half mark, so we do got to get out of here. So Marley, if you can lead us in our gambling prayer, we can get out of here.
All right, man. As always, people, this is Brothas N Bets. That is the coach. That is Flat Top. I am Marley Bets. And as always, y'all know what it is. Let's beat Vegas. And we out this motherfucker.
Check it out. Look, we from the bottom, ain't no problems. We gon' make a way. Got no coach on the field, but we making